He was already carving into my bonus before I even stepped inside his office with a cupcake in hand. Vanilla, store-bought, a little stale. According to the calendar I managed, it was his birthday. I forced a smile, the kind that hides more than it shows. For the man who signs our checks, I said, placing it on his desk. His laugh gurgled out, jagged and clogged, more like a garbage disposal than amusement. He pointed to the chair. Sit, got something fun for you. What he laid in front of me wasn't fun. It was a printout of my quarterly performance. Highlighted, underlined, marked up like a high school essay. I had pulled in 61% of the company's revenue that quarter, and somehow my cut had been reduced to 41%. My largest account, the one I had nurtured from cold call to contract, was suddenly reassigned. Shared credit with Chad, of course. He saw the look in my eyes and cut into the cupcake with a flimsy plastic knife. Payroll's holding your commission until we reconcile some discrepancies, he said, crumbs spilling from his mouth. Then, as if it were nothing, legal wants to tidy up contract language. You know how it is, Dot, I did know. Because 3 months earlier, I had found the clause, the hidden hatch, the escape written in the fine print no one else cared to read. Clause 14B, point of contact transition. If I was no longer their representative, the contract froze. Renewal nullified. The client would have to choose again. I had spent 3 sleepless weekends negotiating that clause while he was off playing golf and networking. But I didn't say a word now. I just watched the smear of red frosting on his lip, like blood from a careless cut, and forced another smile. I'm sure it'll work itself out. Then I left. 2 emails went out before my coffee even cooled. One to my attorney. One to the clients. CEO. Subject line. Moving forward, new representation. Payroll might have forgotten my commission, but I had not forgotten how to build. Quietly, methodically, I had rented a small office under my maiden name, formed an LLC, registered a clean new domain, set up a parallel CRM, even hired a finance coordinator from a competitor, a woman eager enough for revenge that she accepted. Half her old salary just to join. And one more thing, I had secured the URL of our agency's name followed by sucks. Just in case stop by Monday, the gears were already turning. I walked in late, no makeup, no coffee, just a thumb drive in. My pocket and silence in my eyes. Chad waved across the bullpen, all fake confidence. The CEO's assistant tried to pull me into prep for a quarterly deck. I nodded but said nothing. Then at 10:07, the client's PR team dropped their bomb. We will not be renewing with Burford Strategies. Thank you for your service over the last 5 years. The subject line cut sharper than any knife, transitioning to a boutique agency with deeper insight and aligned values. The air in the office shifted. Chairs spun, Slack lit up like a pinball machine. Chad's mouth opened and closed uselessly, a trout flopping for relevance. My boss, frosting still crusted on his beard, slammed his door so hard the frame cracked. I clicked open a browser tab and typed in brfordstrategysucks.com. The page sparkled back at me live. The first person to break wasn't my boss. It was Kim from PR. Soft sweaters, peppermint tea, the kind of woman who never cursed above a whisper. She read the email, stood mid-sip, and muttered, "Oh shit." Her hands trembled as she clutched her mouse. That's their account. That's our client. Not anymore. They didn't see it yet, but the foundation was gone. The one account that propped up their whole revenue structure had collapsed, and I was the one who had built it. Late nights, cold calls, strategy decks. While Chad was out at happy hours, chasing women who didn't even work in marketing, I was cementing deals they had. Now lost. And worse, the client hadn't slipped away quietly. They had announced it publicly, with my help. I had suggested the wording my self-values misalignment. I knew exactly where it would land in Monday's trade newsletter. I had even ghostwritten a LinkedIn post for their VP of growth, already going viral before our office printer finished coughing out emergency client retention strategies by 10:15. The conference room was sealed shut. I wasn't invited, but I watched them through frosted glass. My boss pacing, legal whispering frantically, HR sweating over a laptop, Chad in his ridiculous Q4 closer hoodie, the same hoodie he'd ordered after slapping his name on pitches. I had written, he looked like a frat boy at a funeral. Meanwhile, I opened Slack and dropped a reminder in the general channel. Commissions are how you retain talent, not how you threaten it. A handful of emojis reacted, then a dozen. Then the post vanished, deleted by admin, so I posted again, bold this time, with a screenshot of my missing commission and a timestamp payroll email marked unread. 2 minutes later, my inbox was locked. 3 minutes after that, my keycard access revoked. By the 5th minute, they tried to escort me out. They sent a junior HR rep, her hands shaking. I'm so sorry. They just told me to cut her off. You can tell them I'm leaving, but not because they made me. She blinked. Are you quitting? I handed her. I slid the folder into her hands. Inside, my formal resignation, the full email chain, and a signed letter from my new agency naming me founder and managing partner. Her lips parted, but I didn't wait for her to speak. I turned and scanned the floor one last time. Cubicles stacked like mausoleums, humming fluorescents, the same. Fake plants coated in dust. Once, this place looked like a ladder. Now it looked like a coffin built out of PowerPoint decks and coffee mugs with sarcastic slogans. I walked out without looking back because the best part hadn't even begun. They still didn't know who else was coming with me Tuesday morning. I woke to 37 unread messages, 5 from LinkedIn, 16 from former coworkers, 1 from a college roommate who hadn't spoken to me in 8 years, but suddenly wanted coffee and career advice. The rest were from clients, some cautious, some sharp-edged, but one stood out. We'd love to hear your thoughts on strategy without the corporate filter ... bingo ... I didn't reply. Not yet. I let the silence hang because while Bradford scrambled to plug holes in a sinking ship, I was already stacking lifeboats. Each lifeboat looked like a 6-figure contract. But let's rewind. My quiet rebellion hadn't started with revenue. It started with loyalty. I never belittled interns, never brushed off assistants, never claimed someone else's credit. I thanked designers. I wrote notes to analysts. Not because I'm some workplace saint, but because I knew what was coming. When the bloodletting began, I needed people to remember who treated them like human beings, and they did. Miguel, the data guy, was the first. He once fixed an analytics bug at 2 a.m. while the CMO screamed about dashboard visibility. His message was short. I'm done being yelled at for other people's lies. Where do I send my resume? Then came Arashi from strategy, then Lexi from copy, and then the sweetest Justice 3 clients. Each one said the same thing. We didn't realize you were the one holding it together. They were right. While Chad was schmoozing prospects on golf courses, I was memorizing spouses' names, bourbon preferences, and college acceptance letters. Bradford sold metrics. I built relationships. By Thursday, my newborn agency had its first contracts, a shared drive, a Slack workspace, and one Croatian designer who made us look polished for $12 an hour. Meanwhile, Bradford's website went suspiciously blank. Their client list disappeared. Their blog wiped clean dot, and then it broke. An anonymous Twitter account, frog avatar and all, posted a thread, how to lose your agency's soul in 90 days. Receipts, screenshots of Slack messages, commission disputes, HR emails flagged delay. The thread ended with a link to my agency. By noon, 40,000 likes. By 2 o'clock, I got a call. The CEO's assistant, her voice trembled. She didn't beg me to come back. She just said, they're in crisis. Chad's crying in the copy room. Legal's panicking. And I'd like to interview at your agency. I swirled the wine in my glass and said, we'll be in touch. By Friday. Bray was bleeding in public. A Reddit thread on our marketing. Anyone else work at Preferred Strategies? Places chaos. Frat brothers running the show. Still waiting on my last paycheck. Biggest client just left rumor is their head of enterprise took half the agency with her. That comment hit 1.2K upvotes in 6 hours, but the knife twisted when Adweek called, not me them. A journalist had noticed the sudden wave of open to work banners on LinkedIn. The article dropped Saturday morning. What happens when you undervalue talent? The quiet collapse of Preferred Strategies, front page. No paywall. A blurry photo of my ex-boss mid-blink, sweating through a panel from 2021. The subhead didn't hold back. Sources say the firm failed to reward the very executive responsible for its largest accounts, who has since launched a boutique competitor, now attracting ex-Preferred clients in droves. They didn't name me, but everyone knew. Meanwhile, I was already 3 contracts deep with clients who used to need 3 layers of approval just to ask for metrics. Now I got midnight texts. You. Make us feel like a priority again. We should have left sooner, but the message that made me laugh came from Chad. An email like it was still 2015. Hey, look. We had our differences, but maybe we could grab a drink. I know you've got momentum. Maybe we can talk about teaming up. I didn't reply. I forwarded it to my team instead. Subject, team building. Exercise, spot the parasite. Lexi dropped a gif of a raccoon chewing a power cord. Or she just wrote, block dot, and then something I didn't expect. An envelope arrived. She paused. Done. I opened a blank doc and typed 1 line. They didn't lose me because I snapped. They lost me because they assumed I'd stay quiet. The wired piece dropped like a Molotov in a linen store. The ghost in the pipeline. How? Preferred tried to bury its best and dug its own grave instead. Elegant, brutal, sourced, and devastatingly accurate. The reporter didn't just quote the leak. They thought they could erase me with silence. My commission scrubbed from the books, Slack threads trimmed until my name vanished. Off-record meetings where Chad spun his favorite fiction, she's unstable, still unraveling after the breakup. He neglected to mention I ended it twice. Both times he sobbed into a Shake Shack napkin. That wasn't volatility, that was survival. My final words in that leaked file weren't anger, but clarity. They didn't lose me because I broke. They lost me because they assumed I'd stay quiet. By noon, the forums lit up like brush fire. It wasn't just exposure. It was vindication, but the moment carved deepest wasn't the virality. It was the day I walked back into Preferred's office one last time. Not as staff. As a ghost with credentials, one small client still under contract had asked for an independent audit. Their request carried one name. Mine. So I returned through the glass doors they once called a privilege, the receptionist blinking like she'd seen an apparition. Can I help you? She stammered. Scheduled client audit, I said. Mike's expecting me. He wasn't, but I walked 3 steps into the boardroom before the air shifted. Mike stood at the head, but the light was gone. Once a man who packaged every sentence in LinkedIn quotes, now a husk who had run out of borrowed lines. He didn't say my name. He just stared, as if watching his own obituary approach. I set my laptop on the table, plugged in, and the first slide lit the wall. Audit findings, brand risk. Institutional rot. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't mean to. Silence carried my words further. One by one, I laid out the hemorrhage. 7 major accounts gone. Staff turnover scraping 40%. Social sentiment falling off a cliff since the Wired article. Job applications ghosting them in waves. On slide 6, Mike tried to cut in. I cut sharper. This isn't feedback. This isn't a brainstorm. This is an autopsy. The room froze. Someone swallowed too loudly in the corner. Then the last slide came up one sentence, white text on black. Don't burn bridges you forgot I helped build. I closed the laptop, pushed my chair in. The clients asked me to take their account. After this quarter, I said, if you need transition notes, have Chad email me assuming he still works here, and I left. No mic drop, no applause. Just the hollow echo of my heels against the marble floor they once told me I should feel. Grateful to walk on. The next morning, the client broke contract early and moved to my firm. 2 more followed within days. Then the dominoes fell faster than anyone could count. By the second week, I received an invitation I hadn't expected. Subject line, Women Founders on the Rise Keynote Opportunity. The same industry summit that once gave Bruford their spotlight now offered me center stage. I didn't ask who dropped out. I already knew. Whispers spread like smoke. Bruford became a cautionary tale. Executives muttering their name in bathroom stalls as if saying it too loud might infect them. Every week, someone new reached out confessing they'd almost joined, relieved they hadn't, telling me they always knew who the real force was. Then came the final fracture. A tweet, anonymous initials from a junior analyst. They told me to falsify numbers so a client wouldn't see their budget missing. I quit. Next day, I got hired by the woman they called unstable. Best decision of my life. Attached was a screenshot of their offer letter. Signed by me. That agency, my agency, now stood with 15 staff, 7 clients, and a 6-month wait list. Every employee paid above market. Profit share. Unlimited PTO. Therapy. Stipends. Why? Because I remembered what it felt like to be dismissed as difficult for daring to claim what I earned. I remembered the smirks when payroll accidentally skipped me again. I remembered a room of men in fleece vests telling me I lacked polish. After I secured a $32 million retainer, I remembered the cupcake, that cheap grocery store cupcake they slid across the table in place of a bonus, already whispering about hiring someone scalable. So when the check finally arrived, $38,200, months late, I cashed it. Then I split it evenly across my team as a forget-me-not bonus. Every direct deposit carried the same memo line, for the times you weren't seen, until now, and me. I celebrated. In my own way, I bought the conference table, the very table where Bruford once mapped strategies that erase me. Not a replica, the actual slab of wood auctioned off when their lease collapsed. Now it sits in our headquarters, sanded, refinished, stronger. Underneath, carved small enough to find only if you're searching, the words. She remembered everything. And I do, always.